Namaste, everyone, and welcome to today's yoga session. Let's begin, as always, in a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross legged, maybe place one leg over the other. Try to keep your spine straight, sit bones in contact with the ground. Lift your shoulders up, back, and down. Allow the chest to open up. Place the back of your palms on the knees and keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can close your eyes. Option to bring the tips of your forefinger and the thumb together. Take a few moments and allow your awareness to rest on the body and inside the body. Allow yourself to be fully with how the body feels right now. What are the different sensations? Maybe there are some predominant emotions in this moment. Also, take a few moments to acknowledge the thoughts in your head. Try to be as objective, as scientific as you can be, and see if you can watch these thoughts, these sensations, these emotions as just something that has arisen and then sooner or later it will pass away. See if you can establish yourself as this objective witness, this entity inside you that can simply observe, simply watch anything that comes up and then watch it pass away without getting attached to it, without having any further comments about it. Excuse me. Now also become aware of your breath. You may notice that as you become lighter, more easy in the body, relaxed and alert in the mind, it will reflect in your breathing. The breath will start to become subtler. Now see if you can expand your awareness to your surroundings as well. Can you sense the space around you? And this spaciousness is also a reflection of the spaciousness that resides within you. And it can be sensed, it can be felt when you look beyond the body, beyond these sensations and emotions, beyond the thoughts and feelings, beyond anything conceptual. In this moment, can you sense yourself to be much more than the limited conceptual identities that we have of ourselves? It is easy to get caught up in our identities of nationality or gender or the occupation that we do or the age of the body or the relationships that we have. But all of those are mental and conceptual identities, especially in this moment when none of those are relevant. At the level of the form, yes, we do play those roles. But if you establish yourself as the awareness, can you feel that you are spacious, formless, vast, all encompassing, free of any burden of thoughts, free of the ups and downs that come in life? For the next couple of minutes, we will try to keep investigating within the body. Even if you don't sense this background spaciousness, it's okay. The idea is to simply sit with a dispassionate attitude and just watch whatever arises, a thought or a sensation in the body. Just watch it, acknowledge it, and let it pass away. Always keep coming back to the breath. Slowly start to come back to the body as we transition from being to doing. But in this doing, which means the practice that is coming up, we will continue to be connected with the being dimension in the background because that is the purpose of yoga, to find that balance, one foot in, one foot out. So that is what we will practice today through our postures and breath work. Gently bring your palms together in front of the chest. And you may rub your palms if you want. Cup your eyes. Massage the eyes gently. Start to blink, open your eyes, taking the palms away, looking into the palms. And now relax your hands. So today, let's practice a yin style class. So in yin yoga, we do hold the poses for longer, but maybe it's not the best way to say that we are holding the pose because it implies some kind of effort. So the point of yin yoga is to find that balanced place where it's not super easy, but it's not very effortful either. It's somewhere in the middle where gentle effort is happening and slowly you're allowing the body to open up. And more importantly, you are able to be in a meditative space within. And no matter which posture we are doing, the idea is to keep the whole body active. So let's practice some of those yin poses now. We'll begin with starting in Vajrasana, diamond pose. Just sit like this, and you may place the heels under the hip bones to begin with. Excuse me. Try to straighten your spine. So let's just stay here for a few seconds. Vajrasana is a great position to be in after we eat our meals because it brings all the blood supply to the abdominal region. So from here, now allow your heels to go to the side. So I can show it to you like this. Instead of the heels being under the sit bones now, let the heels go to the side and your hips are settled in between the heels. So once you have that position, we'll move into this pose called ankle stretch. So with the support of your hands, just start to lift the knees. Support yourself nicely to begin with, and you can lean back slightly. So you'll notice as you lift the lift the knees up, there's a deep stretch in the ankles. Now, try to find that optimal place and try to straighten the spine. And finally, this is an option, you need not do it. Take your hands off the floor if possible, palms together, look forward, and we'll just hold this for 1 minute to try to find that perfect balance. Breathe. Now it's a good opportunity to check in with yourself. Are you keeping the whole body engaged and active? Keeping the body active doesn't mean you have to tense the muscles. Simply take your awareness to all the body parts. In other words, do not let any part be passive. Every part of the body is holding its own weight. Just a few more seconds. Keep breathing. And now slowly, with the support of your hands, come back down. So from this position, we will transition into Virasana, hero's pose, and then we might do Supta Virasana, supine hero's pose. So for that, just like you saw, I'm taking my heels and my feet out and allowing my hips to settle down in between the legs. Now, this might be too much of a stretch for some people who have tighter hips. So, for that, you can just support yourself with your hands. And a block can come in handy. You can place a block or anything else under your buttocks, settle down on that. Now, there are a few different options over here. You can just be over here, bringing the knees closer. Another option is leaning back on your palms. Next option on the forearms. Now, we'll stay at the forearms for now and just let the head fall back. The crown of the head is reaching towards the floor, but it's not touching. Opening up the chest. Stay here for a few seconds. Keep breathing comfortably. And if you want to make this a little more difficult, you can bring the elbows forward, take your head down closer to the mat. Try not to place the crown of the head down, just keep it hovering over the ground. Now lift your head up first. Slowly come back. An option to do the same thing again, or this time, another option to just go back and lie down completely on the ground. If you wish to deepen here, you can take the arms over the head, maybe hold the opposite elbows. Keep breathing comfortably. Now, you might notice that the legs are passive in this position, but you can still make them active by taking your attention to all the different parts of the legs. You can also gently draw the knees together. Try to breathe comfortably. And slowly, let's proceed to get out of the pose. You can come back up on the forearms first. Take a breath. Come back up on your palms. And then come up all the way. Stay a few seconds in Virasana. And then, with the support of your hands, lift the hips up. Place the palms in front of you. And we'll find the tabletop position. Take a few moments in tabletop, making sure the alignment is correct. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips, legs parallel, toes untucked, fingers spread wide. Let's just begin with the cat and cow stretch to release any tension in the spine. As you inhale, dropping the belly, arching the back, looking up. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone in, suck your belly in gently, chin to the chest. Keep moving like that. Inhale, arch. Exhale, hunch. Inhale, exhale. Now, this time, let's hold both of these poses. So, when you arch your back, lift the tailbone up, slightly look up, and we'll just hold this pose. As you exhale next, round your spine, chin to the chest, tuck the tailbone in, hold it for a few seconds, and next inhalation, come back to the center. Now we'll move into the puppy pose, melting hearts pose. It's also called as that. Just walk your palms forward, place the forehead down, let the chest open up, gently push the hips back. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders slowly. Walk the palms back, coming back to the tabletop position. Now we'll move into our next yin pose, the lizard pose. So for this, just take a step forward with your palms. We'll move into the downward facing dog first. So just push your hips back, lift the knees, and reach your heels down. You may want to take a small step forward with your feet. Keep reaching those heels down, lifting the tailbone up. Breathe. Now, just float your hips down and find your plank position. From this plank position, take a step forward with the right leg, and you can place the right foot outside the right palm. Place the left knee down and left toe out. So this is the starting position for lizard pose. Like I said, this might already be a deep stretch as you sink your hips down. So you can stay here, or you can try placing one forearm down at a time. And finally, the last option is you place both the forearms down. Now, when you do this, you might notice that there is more weight in one arm than the other. See if you can equalize this. Keep breathing comfortably. As you breathe naturally, move your attention to the different parts of the body. The back leg, for example. Is it passive or is it active? Try to bring more and more ease into the body. Few more seconds. Keep breathing. And now slowly come back up on your palms. So we will add a gentle stretch over here where we shift the weight onto the left palm and take the right palm, pushing the right knee out. The right foot will come on its outer edge. Just try to gently push, gently open up, and you can even look up towards the ceiling. Slowly release the palm down, tuck the back toe, lift the knee, take the right leg back into plank, transition into downward facing dog. Stay there for a few seconds. Slowly, we transition back to the plank and then bring the left foot outside the left palm. To do it on the other side, place the right knee down, right toe out. Take a few moments to adjust. Notice how my palm and my um, foot, the left palm and the left foot, they're exactly in one line. So this is the starting position. Find what works for you. One forearm down, both forearms down, and get into the lizard pose. Try to distribute that weight equally on both arms as much as possible, keeping the whole body light, easy, and active. You might feel a deep stretch at some parts of the body. Just take your attention there. Breathe comfortably. Let them open up. Check within yourself. Are you fully in this moment, fully embodying the pose, noticing the breath? Or maybe the mind is coming in and you're getting distracted by your thoughts. Try to soften any muscles that you might have tightened unconsciously. And it helps to even bring activity in the left leg where the stretch is happening. Few more seconds. Now slowly come back up on your palms. Take the left palm to the inside of the left knee. Push it out. And you may look up to add that twist. Slowly release. Palm down. Tucking the back toe. Lift the knee. Take the left leg back. Downward facing dog. And slowly we release the knees on the mat. Keep some distance between the knees. Let the big toes touch. Push the hips back. And we move into extended child's pose. Another yin pose. Walk the palm forward. See if you can push the hips back towards the heels. Bring the palms forward as much as you want. And then place the forehead down. Keep bringing more and more space, more and more ease into the body. In this pose, it's easy to make the body passive. Try to keep all parts active, even the ones that are not being used. Slowly lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. Come back up. And before we transition to the next pose, feel free to take a sip of water if you want. Let us spend a few seconds coming back to the center, coming back to presence, feeling the prana or the life energy moving through the body. And slowly, let's transition into our next pose. We will now practice Kapotasana, pigeon pose. Another very good yin pose with many variations. Let's begin in the tabletop position. From the tabletop, transitioning into downward facing dog. And directly from downward facing dog, just bring your right knee in between both the palms. The right foot comes out on the left side. Place the left knee down and make some adjustments if you need to. Untuck the back toe. Now, the first adjustment we'll do here is shift the weight on the right palm and use the left palm to open up this leg. Open up the front leg as much as possible. Ideally, the leg should come parallel to the top of the mat, but even a little bit of an angle is okay. Now, square your hips first. There's a tendency for the left hip to lift up and the right one to sink in. Square them, which means your hips are facing forward. We begin with this arch in the back to make sure that when we lie down or when we come down, the spine is straight. And then slowly you can walk your palms forward. You can choose to stay on the forearms, or you can walk them forward more and place the forehead down. You can even distribute your time between the forearms for a few seconds and then move into lying down pigeon pose. Move your awareness to different parts of the body. Try to make your legs active. Try to make your hands active, the back muscles. Don't leave the weight of the body on any other body part. Continue breathing in a relaxed way. You can choose to go deeper if you want to walk your fingers forward, maybe. Just a few more seconds. And slowly we transition out of the pose by lifting the head up, walking the palms back. Before we move out of the pose completely, there's an option to add a quad stretch. So you can lift your left foot off the floor, use your right hand, see if you're able to grab it. Otherwise, you can just keep pointing towards it. If you can grab it, just pull it close to you, get that stretch in the quads, and release. Tuck the back toe, lift the knee, take the right leg back, and move into your downward facing dog, reaching the heels down. Breathe. Enjoy that stretch in the back of the legs. And then we move into the other side. Bring the left knee in between both the palms. Right knee down, right toe out. And we'll make those adjustments. Opening the left leg as much as you want. Squaring the hips, very important. Make sure the hips are facing forward. Arching the back slightly to begin with. And then walking the fingers forward. So take your time, really tune into the body, listen to your body, find the appropriate stretch. The Yoga Sutras, the ancient scriptures, they mention postures as Sthiram Sukham Asanam. So the quality of a good posture is stillness and pleasantness. Are you feeling stillness? Are you feeling pleasantness in the posture? As always, there's an option to walk the palms forward further and further, keeping all parts of the body active. Just a few more seconds. Keep breathing normally, gracefully, moving the attention to different parts, slight adjustments, subtle movements, and slowly lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Walk the palms back. Let's try that optional quad stretch, bending the right knee, using the left hand this time, pulling the heel to the hip, and release. Tuck the back toe, lift the knee, take the left leg back. Once again, find your downward facing dog. Stay there for a few seconds. And this time, release the knees, but keep the knees closer. Untuck the toes. We move back to Vajrasana. And let's do another version of child's pose, where the knees are closer and we just place the head down. If this is uncomfortable, you can increase the distance between the knees, but not too much. And this time, instead of stretching the arms forward, the other option is taking the arms back and the palms are facing up like this.
Take deep and long breaths. Release the shoulders down. Once again, in this position, it's very easy to make the legs passive or even the upper body. See if you can maintain an activeness in all parts of the body.
Slowly, as you inhale, come back up, and we will move into the final few yin poses. The next one, we will practice Mandukasana, the frog pose. It also begins from the tabletop position. This time we increase the distance between the knees and the legs as much as possible, and the foot can come to the side. So as you can see, the inner edge of my foot is on the floor. From this position, see if you're able to come down on your forearms. And the final adjustment, try to push your hips back. You can even walk your hands back, but don't force yourself. Just notice how you're feeling in the hips, the inner hips. Once again, it requires a lot of concentration and listening to your body instead of looking at me or just merely following the instruction. Notice what the body wants to do. Find that optimal place and enjoy that mild stretch, keeping activeness in the legs, in the arms, even the upper body. Don't just put the weight on the legs and the arms. Breathe. Few more seconds. Check with yourself. Are you using the whole body? Are you feeling relaxed and at ease? What can you do to bring yourself to that state? Is the breath flowing in and out naturally and easily? And slowly come back on your palms. First, you may want to bring your hips forward slightly. Bring the knees closer. And now sit down in a comfortable seated position, cross-legged. Once again, there's an option to take a sip of water if you want. So in this comfortable seated position, let us spend a few minutes meditating and also maybe a couple of pranayama practices before we lie down on our backs and finish with the last yin pose for the day. So first, find yourself in a comfortable place where you can bring the physical body into stillness. No more movements or adjustments. Simply ease and noticing the various different sensations. Now that the physical body is in stillness, let your breath become natural and subtle. Finally, the only thing that remains is the mind. It's quite a paradox that the mind cannot be brought into stillness by using willpower or even through intentions. The only way to bring mind into stillness is by watching it, by becoming detached with it. But when I say watching it doesn't mean that we are actively interested in what the mind has to say. It means we keep our attention on the body and the breath in the moment, and anytime there is a thought that occurs, we watch it, acknowledge it, and then bring the attention back to the breath. So if you look at it in a different way, we are not giving too much importance to the mind. Just like when a little child is making a lot of sounds and noises or crying, often the grown-ups will not pay any attention to the child, and eventually the child will stop. Whereas if you pay a lot of attention to the child continues to cry and make noises. So in a similar way, let your thoughts and your mind become unimportant. View them all as equally futile, as they do not define who you are. We'll stay in this state of meditation for a couple more minutes. Before we move into Ujjayi Pranayama, slowly, let's transition into Ujjayi Pranayama. You may open your eyes if you want. If you already know how to do this, you can begin. Otherwise, let me give you some tips and some instructions. In Ujjayi Pranayama, we switch our attention from the nostril area to the bottom of the throat. So it's almost like you're visualizing that you're breathing in and out from this place. And the way it goes, we will slowly increase the intensity. And then in the main part of the pranayama, for 6 to 7 rounds, you go with high intensity like this. And there is a little bit of an engagement of the throat muscle. So your windpipe is kind of constricted, but not too much effort, more with your awareness. And through this place, we breathe in and out. For 6 to 7 rounds, the intensity is high, and then slowly we bring it down. As we finish, the awareness comes back to the nostrils, and you breathe naturally with your nostrils. As soon as we finish, you can go back to being in that meditative space. So let's try it once. It may take a little while, a few rounds of practice to get used to this if you're new to this. But you would know that you have practiced it correctly if at the end of this you suddenly feel very meditative and you feel a sense of stillness coming into the body. You can blink, open your eyes if you want. So, one more thing to take into account with this pranayama is that this sound that we are making from the throat, you need not necessarily make this sound, but it's good to begin with that sound so you know that you're doing it right. Eventually, you can do it with a minimal amount of sound as well. So we'll practice one more round of Ujjayi Pranayama. Let's begin. Come back to stillness. Come back to natural breath. Come back to simply being. And slowly bring some movement in your body. We will now lie down on the back and finish today's session with the last yin pose, the supine twist. So after you lie down, bring your hands at shoulder level, draw your knees into the chest, and let the knees fall down on the right side. As you look to the left, bringing in a natural twist, try to keep both the shoulders on the ground. Keep looking towards your left hand. And once again, try to keep the whole body active. There might be a tendency for your right leg or the left leg to become passive. Keep it active and engaged, both the hands as well. And slowly, with the next inhalation, roll back to the center. Knees are close to the chest. Next exhalation, we twist on the other side. Let the legs fall down on the left. As you look to the right, and slowly inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, release the legs for a couple of minutes of Shavasana. Let the feet fall in the outward opposite direction, hands by the side. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, chin closer to the chest. Make any final adjustments that you want after this. absolute stillness. Try not to let your thoughts wander, but if they are moving in different directions, try also not to use willpower to stop them. Whenever you can remember, just keep gently bringing your attention back to the breath, back to the body, back to the contact that you feel with the ground. The more you stay in the moment, the more you stay alert and yet relaxed, the more all these little changes in your body and your mind get integrated. This is the time and space when you receive the benefits of today's practice. The body becomes more open, the prana or the life force flows more easily in the body, and the mind becomes quieter, more relaxed. For a deeper relaxation, you may scan the body with your mind, moving the attention to different parts, even the tiniest parts. For example, can you take your attention to the pinky toe or the big toe of the left leg or the right leg? Just like that, you can move your attention to different parts, to the tailbone, to the forearm, to the back of the neck, and even to the parts which are inside the body. For example, your tongue, or even the internal organs. It is very much possible to take your attention to the internal body parts as well. Slowly invite some movement into the body, wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch your hands over the head, and in your own time, you can bend the knees, roll over to any one side, and come up to a seated position. Let's finish today's session with one long chant of Omkara or Om. Exhale completely, deep inhalation. Om. Enjoy the stillness and the beingness as you carry forward in your day. Namaste and thank you for the practice today. I'll see you in the next class.